and self in this. I'm still dealing with this bloody headache, so it makes me squint my eyes. Like I think, so I look like, I look like, what's his name, Gilbert Godfrey. Remember him? He died recently. So this guy was fucking his sister. This guy was fucking. I can't do it. So this guy was fucking his. I can't. Fucking his sister. I can't do it. Gilbert Godfrey. So this. He talking. But I can't do it. The American accent. So this guy was riding his sister, and then walks Rabbi Melchid, and he goes, Jesus Christ! That's better. I'm getting close. That's close to Gilbert Godfrey. Jesus Christ! Oh, for the love of Jesus Christ! I hope that pork is kosher. I got him at the end then. Yeah, Gilbert Godfrey. Yeah, what a genius. He's another one of my comic heroes. But look, the dog is rat thing, right? Okay. It's been obvious that this whole thing, the Ukrainian refugee thing, has been a Trojan horse operation by the globalist to flood Europe with undocumented North Africans, Arabs, and sub-Saharan African people who are wandering around as stateless persons in Eastern Europe. It was never, ever about helping the Ukrainian war refugees. It was truly evil what our politicians and everything got up involved in as usual. So there's a story in the paper today, and the Irish propaganda outlet, RTE, Clinton Foundation, garbage, and it has an interview with Ukrainians who are living in Ireland who want to go back home, which is totally understandable. That's what refugees do. When things are bad, you make a run for it, and then when they calm down, you go back. Now, it's been apparent now, look, the war is over. The Russians won, okay? The Russians were only after a specific territory. They've captured it, and they're holding it, and that's the end. The war's been over for months now. The Russians had no invasion of invading, attacking Kiev or anywhere like that. And all these Ukrainian people who ran in terror really believed that the Russian troops were going to come into Kiev and everything. The ones from the western part of Ukraine who went into Poland have all gone back home. A lot of them have gone back home to the Ukraine because they realise that Putin is only interested in specific territorial gains in the east of the country, in predominantly Russian regions anyway, ethnic regions anyway. And it's the war is over, and the Russians are just there for good. That they've just conquered the land, and they're there for good. The Ukrainians were defeated. That's just how it is. And so, not surprisingly, the ones that came to Ireland want to go back home to their families in the Ukraine. And so good luck to them. That's what a true refugee is. You came here, we gave you some help, and looked after you, and you went back home. Like back in the late 70s, there were thousands of Vietnamese refugees that came to Ireland from the Vietnam War, and the same thing happened. They spent a few years in Ireland. When things were fixed up and okay in Vietnam, they went back home again. But that's not what's happening here. It's been the Ukrainian refugees, the real war things, have been used as a Trojan horse by people who want to get into Western countries like Ireland, but are not from the Ukraine. They're the ones that dog is rat, and I find these people despicable, not because of their ethnic group or where they're from. Anyone who would prey upon someone else's misfortune, i.e., a war, and then pretend you're one of them. Hello, I'm, Mustafa Ababa, I am from Kiev, this kind of thing. That's what's been going on. Hundreds of thousands of them at this point. And the governments all knew this was going to happen. It was a big bait and switch thing. But of course, you idiots out there who call, and especially, this the Irish idiots now, the biggest idiots of them all, who call politicians by first names. Not one of, you're all too busy waving your Ukrainian flags and going, welcome, and then all these people in burqas and who don't look Ukrainian come down the street into the houses, but you can't say nothing because you're too. They got your psychology perfectly, don't they, normies? See, Normie was driven by the thing that he wanted to be look wonderful. We're going to, Mary, yes, what, Bridget, what, Sean? We're going to take in some Ukrainian refugees, and everybody will say we're wonderful, and we'll put it all over social media that we took them in, and we're so proud to help them, and then we'll patronise them and treat them terribly, and treat them like they're children, treat them like they're little fucking children, patronise them totally and condescend them to them, and treat them like they're pets, Sure, jeez, when we have the GAO open day, we'll put them on the field to march them out like they're fucking show horses or something, so we can always go, oh, look how wonderful we all are, oh, look how wonderful we all are, sure, jeez, that would be wonderful, right? And that was the whole impetus behind the adopt a pet Ukrainian family. So Sean and Bridget, they go down to the refugee centre to collect their pet Ukrainian family, and there's his Mustafa and his 6 wives and his 19 children, and they're all obviously from the Middle East. And he goes, oh, Jesus, Bridget, I was kind of expecting someone that looked, someone looked a bit like, what I thought a Ukrainian looked like. And she goes, oh, Sean, we better bring him home and say nothing. We better bring him home. We better say nothing, John. Why? Yeah, why? We talk about it. No. It's better people think we're wonderful than we actually deal with the truth. See, they have the psychology of these fuckers perfectly. And so they bring home they bring home the refugees, The good govy. So I go down to the refugee centre, and I find there that I say to them, I want some Ukrainians. For Jesus Christ, give me some Ukrainians. I want to show off to the neighbours how fucking wonderful I am. And so they bring out these Arabs, Iran, Iraq. Sure, I ran. I had Mexican food last night. But, yeah. That's what it was like. So they bring them home and go, sure, yes, we just act like we're wonderful. We continue to act a wonderful love. And people will tell us we're wonderful. You're doing beautiful. Lots of love hearts on social media. It's like, do that. So they're looking after Muhammad in his whatever. They'd be the Drew Barrymore of the Middle East. That's a funny idea now. Drew Barrymore, the Middle East. That's what he would be like, yeah. And so, yeah. Jeez, I made my headache worse. I might as well make it worse. Suffer for my art. Suffer for my satire. But, so they would never admit that they fucked up being lured into a Trojan horse operation. So they would continue to maintain the fiasco that they're, they actually have to gaslight themselves. They'll be going downtown to show off their Ukrainian pet family, and they're obviously not ethnic Ukrainians, but they can't say they're disappointed with their pet Ukrainians that they picked up so that everyone could tell them how wonderful they were. And the whole thing is a Trojan horse operation like you would not believe. And it was obvious from day one, wasn't it? Before it even happened, what did I say to you? You go back, no one believes me. I said, go back and watch the first video of the Ukraine refugee thing. And I said, I bet when the so-called refugees come in, most of them won't be Ukrainians. And I was proven right within hours. Within hours, I was proven right. And again, I have no problem with anyone's race, religion, or anything who wants to make a better life for themselves. I have a huge problem with someone preying off people in a war zone. Just like I said, the analogy I gave, your next door neighbour's house burns down, and he claims, your next door neighbour's house burns down, and you claim his homeowner's insurance money. That's what these so-called refugees have done. They're not from the Ukraine. They see people suffering in a country, and they say they're giving them refugee centre, and they all scarper to the Polish border, pretending to be Ukrainians. And some of the stories coming out, like Ukrainian women who've been housed in the same refugee centres as other Ukrainians. And it's funny enough, some of these Ukrainians have decided that their own women shouldn't dress like Western women. You see, this is what's going on. It's a massive Trojan horse operation. And Micheál Martin, Varadkar, and all your beloved politicians, all of them, Mary Lou MacDonald, all you Sinn Féin maggots, all of them, all knew this was happening and went along for that reason. And you're not getting 200,000 Ukrainian refugees, my friends in Ireland. And I know many of you are upset about that because the housing shortage and everything. But those Ukrainians that were actually Ukrainian nationals, citizens, ethnic people, they're going back home. They want to rebuild their country, and why wouldn't you? You know, why if you're a refugee, you want to go back home. You're getting 200,000 Muslims, Arabs, and Africans. That's what you're getting, my friends. That's what you're getting. And they're being called Ukrainians only for the sake of paperwork. Did anyone consult you on this? Did anyone ask you about this? Was it put into the local, was it voted upon issue? No, if you just say anything like that wasn't very fair. I thought we were helping people who were going through the war in the Ukraine, and you send over a bunch of people from the Middle East, Africa, and tell me they're Ukrainians. And then all they're going to get back is, you horrible racist. It's a sick fucking world we live in, folks.